Welcome to day 2 of the 60-day pentesting challenge. Yesterday we covered pentesting methodology. Today we build the lab where we practice everything for the next 58 days. If you do not have a lab, you are just reading about security instead of doing security. Let us fix that. First, we need VirtualBox. Download it from virtualbox.org, install it, and then we create something called a host-only network. Open a terminal and run vbox manage hostnlyf create. This creates a virtual network adapter. Then configure it with vbox manage hostnlyf IP protocol configuration boxnet 0, set the IP to 192.168.56.1 with a 255.255.255.0 netmask. What this does is create a private network that only exists between your VMs and your host computer. No traffic goes to the internet. No traffic goes to your home network. This isolation is not just convenient, it is legally necessary. Scanning or exploiting systems you do not have written permission to test violates the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. With host-only networking, your lab traffic physically cannot reach anything outside your machine. Next, we install Kali Linux. Go to kali.org/getkali and download the VirtualBox OVA file. Do not download the ISO. The OVA is a pre-built VM image that imports in about 5 minutes versus 30 minutes for a manual install. Import it with vbox manage import, point it to the downloaded OVA file, and give it a name like Kali Lab. Then attach it to your host-only network with vbox manage modifivm, set NIC1 to hostnly and the adapter to boxnet 0. Give it at least 4 GB of RAM. You need that much because tools like Burp Suite are memory hungry. 2 CPU cores is enough for lab work. Start the VM, log in with the default credentials Kali and Kali, and immediately change the password. Then assign a static IP address. I use 192.168.56.10. Edit the network interfaces file or use ncli, whatever you prefer. A static IP means your scripts and configurations work consistently across reboots. Now we need something to hack. Metasploitable 2 is the standard beginner target. It is an Ubuntu VM running about 30 intentionally vulnerable services. Download the VMDK file from SourceForge. Create a new VM in VirtualBox, attach the VMDK as the hard drive, set the network to host-only on the same boxnet 0 adapter, and give it 1 GB of RAM. Boot it up, and you will see a login prompt. Credentials are msfadmin. The VM will grab a DHCP address from the VirtualBox DHCP server. Note that IP address because you will be scanning it constantly. From your Kali VM, run a quick nmap scan against it. You should see ports 21, 22, 23, 80, and many more open. Each of those ports represents a service with known vulnerabilities that we will exploit over the coming weeks. I also recommend setting up DVWA, the damn vulnerable web application. You can run it in Docker on a lightweight Ubuntu server VM. It focuses specifically on web vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, command injection, and file inclusion. It has 4 difficulty levels, so you can start easy and increase the challenge as your skills improve. The impossible level actually shows you the secure implementation, which is great for understanding both offense and defense. Here is the most important step that beginners skip. Snapshot your VMs right now, before you touch anything else. Run vbox manage snapshot with your VM name, the take command, and a descriptive name like clean state. Do this for every VM in your lab. When you successfully exploit Metasploitable and crash a service or modify files or install a backdoor, the VM state is corrupted. Without a snapshot, you have to re-download and reconfigure everything. With a snapshot, You run VirtualBox manage snapshot restore and you are back to a clean target in about 5 seconds. I cannot overstate how much time this saves. Some days you will reset targets 10 or 15 times during a practice session. A couple of gotchas before I let you go. First, the VirtualBox DHCP server sometimes stops working after you reboot your host computer. If your target VM boots with no IP address, restart the DHCP server with VirtualBox manage dicserver modify and the enable flag. Second, make sure hardware virtualization is enabled in your BIOS. Look for VTX on Intel or AMDV on AMD. Without it, your VMs will be unusably slow. Third, do not run Kali as your daily operating system. It is a toolkit meant to live in a VM. Tomorrow we start passive reconnaissance using this lab. See you then.